The night was pitch black, the only light coming from the flickering campfire. The woods around them were silent, too silent. Suddenly a chilling howl pierced the air, sending shivers down their spines. The old man leaned in closer, his voice a low, eerie whisper. "There is a place," he began, "where the dead do not rest. A place where shadows come to life and nightmares walk among us." Thousands of years ago, early humans huddled around fires, sharing tales that made their blood run cold. These early scary stories were born from the unknown dangers lurking in the darkness. They spoke of spirits, beasts, and things that could not be explained. In the heart of ancient Egypt, stories were filled with gods and the afterlife. Anubis, the god with a jackal head, was said to guide souls to the afterlife, weighing their hearts against a feather to determine their fate. Tales of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, depicted the journey of the soul through the Hall of Ma'at, facing various challenges before reaching the eternal fields of peace. Legends also spoke of Pharaoh's curses, protecting the resting places of the rulers. Those who dared to disturb the tombs faced dire consequences, as the wrath of the dead was said to bring sickness and death upon the intruders. As time passed, ghost stories grew. People believed ghosts were spirits of the dead with unfinished business. In Japan, these spirits were called yurei. They wore white burial clothes and had long black hair, appearing in the dead of night to seek vengeance or closure. In China, people feared hungry ghosts, spirits of ancestors who were not properly honored. During the Hungry Ghost Festival, offerings of food and incense were made to appease these restless spirits and prevent them from causing harm. The rise of Gothic literature in the 18th and 19th centuries brought ghost stories to new heights. Edgar Allan Poe's chilling tales of madness and death captivated readers. In The Fall of the House of Usher, the decaying mansion and its doomed inhabitants created an atmosphere of dread and impending doom. Henry James's The Turn of the Screw left readers questioning the nature of reality as a governess recounts her experiences with malevolent spirits haunting two children. The ambiguity of the story heightened the psychological horror. Modern ghost stories like Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House continued this tradition. The novel blended psychological terror with supernatural elements, exploring the fragile boundaries between reality and the paranormal. The rise of Gothic literature in the 18th and 19th centuries brought ghost stories to new heights. Edgar Allan Poe's chilling tales of madness and death captivated readers. In The Fall of the House of Usher, the decaying mansion and its doomed inhabitants created an atmosphere of dread and impending doom. Henry James's The Turn of the Screw left readers questioning the nature of reality, as a governess recounts her experiences with malevolent spirits haunting two children. The ambiguity of the story heightened the psychological horror. Modern ghost stories like Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House continued this tradition. The novel blended psychological terror with supernatural elements, exploring the fragile boundaries between reality and the paranormal. Monsters have always been a part of scary stories. Ancient China had dragons, revered and feared as powerful and wise beings. In Europe, tales of werewolves and vampires thrived, embodying the fear of the unknown and the monstrous. Religious texts mention beings like Behemoth and Leviathan, monstrous creatures that symbolized chaos and destruction. These creatures embodied the fears and anxieties of their cultures. The Gothic era brought us Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the tragic tale of a monster created by science. Victor Frankenstein's hubris led to the creation of a being that was both pitiable and terrifying. The novel explored themes of creation, responsibility, and monstrosity, questioning what it means to be human. Bram Stoker's Dracula defined much of our modern vampire lore. The story of Count Dracula's attempt to move from Transylvania to England and his subsequent battle with a group of people led by Professor Van Helsing captivated audiences. The novel introduced many conventions of subsequent vampire fantasy, including the vampire's vulnerability to sunlight. In the 20th century, Stephen King's It introduced Pennywise, a shape-shifting entity that preys on the fears of children. Peter Benchley's Jaws brought the terror of the deep to life, with a great white shark terrorizing a small coastal town. These modern monsters showed that the fear of the unknown is timeless. Psychological horror delves into the darkest corners of the human mind. Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart explored guilt and madness. The narrator, driven to the brink of insanity by his guilt, hears the relentless beating of the murdered man's heart. The story delves into the fragility of the human psyche and the terror of losing control. Stephen King's The Shining depicted a family's descent into insanity within an isolated hotel. Jack Torrance, a writer and recovering alcoholic, takes a job as the winter caretaker of the Overlook Hotel. The hotel's malevolent influence exacerbates Jack's descent into madness, leading to terrifying consequences for his family. Psychological horror plays on the fear of losing control, of being unable to trust one's own mind. It makes readers question their own perceptions and the reliability of their senses. Modern authors continue to explore these themes, creating stories that delve into the complexities of the human mind. Dystopian and apocalyptic horror reflect societal fears of collapse and existential threats. George Orwell's 1984 depicted a world under constant surveillance, where the government controlled every aspect of life. The novel's depiction of a dystopian society warned of the dangers of totalitarianism and the loss of individual freedom. Cormac McCarthy's The Road portrayed a bleak post-apocalyptic journey. A father and his young son traverse a desolate landscape, struggling to survive in a world where humanity has collapsed. The novel explores themes of survival, loss, and the enduring bond between parent and child. Dystopian and apocalyptic horror shows what happens when society breaks down, when the structures that hold our world together fall apart. They explore themes of survival, loss, and the struggle to maintain humanity in the face of overwhelming despair. Contemporary authors and filmmakers continue to explore these themes, reflecting modern fears and anxieties. Throughout history, people have believed in ghosts. Ancient Egyptians performed rituals to ensure safe passage to the afterlife. They believed that the soul underwent a journey, facing various trials before reaching eternal peace. The elaborate mummification process and the construction of grand tombs reflected their beliefs in the afterlife. Greeks believed in an underworld where spirits lived. Myths of Hades, Persephone, and the river Styx depicted a complex afterlife. The spirits, known as shades, wandered the underworld, often reflecting the lives they led. Japanese yurei were spirits bound by strong emotions, often appearing in traditional stories and kabuki theater. These tales reflected cultural beliefs about the afterlife and the power of unresolved emotions. Chinese folklore told of hungry ghosts, spirits of ancestors who were not properly honored. The Hungry Ghost Festival involved rituals and offerings to appease these restless spirits and ensure the well-being of the living. Scientific explorations into ghostly phenomena have included paranormal investigations using EMF meters and thermal cameras, as well as psychological studies into sleep paralysis and infrasound. Despite advances in science, the mystery of ghosts remains. Ghost stories often reflect cultural beliefs and practices related to death and the afterlife. They explore the idea that the dead can return, either to seek justice, to fulfill unfinished business, or simply because they are unable to move on. Residual hauntings are like recordings of past events, playing over and over without interaction. These ghosts are not aware of the living and cannot communicate. They are echoes of the past, like an apparition that walks the same path over and over. Known as the most haunted house in England, Borley Rectory was famous for its residual hauntings. Ghostly monks and nuns were said to appear, reenacting events from centuries past. The site of one of the bloodiest battles in American history, Gettysburg is known for ghostly soldiers seen reenacting battles. These residual hauntings are vivid reminders of the past trauma and violence that occurred there. Various locations worldwide are known for residual hauntings where echoes of past events continue to manifest. Intelligent hauntings involve spirits that interact with the living. Poltergeists, known for their noisy and disruptive behavior, fall into this category. These spirits are aware of their surroundings and can communicate through mediums or electronic devices. A detailed account of one of the most famous poltergeist cases. In the late 1970s, a family in Enfield, London experienced terrifying phenomena, including furniture moving on its own, knocking sounds, and disembodied voices. The case drew the attention of paranormal investigators and remains one of the most documented poltergeist cases in history. Witnesses reported seeing heavy furniture levitate, toys thrown across rooms, and even the family's children being lifted and thrown by unseen forces. The case captivated the public and has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films. In 1974, the Lutz family moved into a house in Amityville, New York, only to flee 28 days later, claiming it was haunted by violent and malevolent spirits. The house had been the site of a brutal mass murder a year earlier. George and Kathy Lutz reported hearing voices, seeing ghostly apparitions, and experiencing physical attacks from invisible entities. Their story became a media sensation and inspired a series of books and movies. In recent years, poltergeist activity has continued to be reported around the world. Cases often involve objects moving on their own, strange noises, and interactions with unseen forces. Paranormal investigators use advanced equipment, such as thermal imaging cameras and electronic voice phenomena (EVP) recorders, to document these occurrences and attempt to communicate with the entities responsible. Poltergeists are known for moving objects, creating strange noises, and interacting with the environment. They are often linked to individuals, especially teenagers, and can be both disruptive and dangerous. Some theories suggest that poltergeist activity is linked to the emotional and psychological turmoil of adolescence. It is believed that teenagers going through puberty may unconsciously generate psychokinetic energy, causing objects to move and strange phenomena to occur. Psychokinesis, or the ability to move objects with the mind, has been a subject of scientific study and debate. Good spirits include guardians like guardian angels and benevolent ancestors. These spirits protect and guide the living, often honored in rituals and ceremonies. In Christianity and other religions, guardian angels are believed to protect individuals from harm and guide them through life. Stories of miraculous interventions, where people are saved from accidents or disasters by unseen forces, are often attributed to guardian angels. In many cultures, ancestor worship is an important tradition. Practices like Dia de los Muertos or Day of the Dead in Mexico involve honoring deceased loved ones with altars, offerings, and celebrations. It is believed that ancestors can provide guidance, protection, and blessings to their descendants. Tales of protective spirits exist in various cultures. In Japan, the Zashiki Warashi is a benevolent spirit believed to bring good fortune to families. Similarly, in Celtic folklore, the house spirit known as the brownie helps with household chores and protects the home. Evil spirits seek to harm the living. Demons and cursed souls are examples. Cultural interpretations vary, with Western views often seeing a clear line between good and evil spirits, while Eastern views see spirits as neutral, influenced by how they are treated. Examination of famous exorcisms and possessions reveals a long history of belief in demonic entities. The possession of Anneliese Michel in the 1970s, which led to her death after a series of exorcisms, remains a controversial and tragic case. Her story inspired the film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Different cultures interpret and deal with evil spirits in various ways. In Western Christianity, exorcisms are performed by priests to expel demons. In contrast, traditional African religions may use rituals involving dance, music, and offerings to appease or banish spirits. Depictions of demonic possession and exorcisms in contemporary media, such as The Exorcist and The Conjuring series, continue to fascinate and terrify audiences. These stories often explore the battle between good and evil, faith and doubt, and the human capacity for both cruelty and compassion. Paranormal phenomena include ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, and ESP, or extrasensory perception. Parapsychology studies these events, while skeptics look for natural explanations. High-profile cases like the Amityville Horror blend fact and fiction, keeping the mystery alive. Paranormal investigators use a variety of equipment to detect and document paranormal activity. EMF meters, thermal cameras, and other tools are often used in ghost hunting. EMF meters measure electromagnetic fields, which are believed to be associated with ghostly presences. Thermal cameras capture temperature anomalies that may indicate the presence of spirits. Other tools include EVP recorders, which capture disembodied voices, and spirit boxes, which scan radio frequencies to facilitate communication with spirits. Ed and Lorraine Warren were pioneering paranormal investigators who investigated many high-profile cases, including the Amityville Horror and the Enfield Poltergeist. Zach Bagans, the host of Ghost Adventures, has brought paranormal investigation to mainstream television, using advanced technology and bold tactics to explore haunted locations around the world. Parapsychology, the study of paranormal phenomena, includes research on ESP, psychokinesis, and hauntings. While many scientists remain skeptical, some researchers believe that these phenomena may have natural explanations that are not yet fully understood. Ancient myths explain natural events with gods and monsters. The Middle Ages had witch hunts and demonology. The Enlightenment brought scientific skepticism. The 19th century's spiritualism movement had seances and mediums. Modern investigations use technology to explore the paranormal. Myths and legends served as early attempts to explain natural phenomena and the mysteries of life. Stories of gods, spirits, and monsters provided a framework for understanding the world and coping with fear and uncertainty. The witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries were fueled by fear and superstition. Thousands of people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft and executed. The Salem witch trials in 1692 are among the most famous cases, highlighting the dangers of mass hysteria and scapegoating. The spiritualism movement emerged in the mid-19th century, with people seeking to communicate with the dead through seances and mediums. Prominent figures like the Fox sisters and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle popularized spiritualism, which remains influential in contemporary paranormal beliefs. Modern technology has revolutionized paranormal investigations, allowing investigators to capture and analyze evidence more effectively. High-definition cameras, digital recorders, and advanced software have improved the ability to document and study paranormal activity. Scary stories and paranormal beliefs persist because they tap into deep human fears and curiosity. They shape culture, influencing literature, film, and media. As technology advances, the future of scary stories and paranormal investigations will continue to evolve, exploring new frontiers of fear. From Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to Stephen King's The Shining, scary stories have left an indelible mark on literature. Similarly, films like Psycho, The Exorcist, and Get Out have pushed the boundaries of horror, exploring new themes and techniques to terrify audiences. Shows like The X-Files, Stranger Things, and American Horror Story have brought paranormal themes to mainstream audiences. The internet has also played a significant role, with forums, social media, and streaming platforms providing a platform for sharing and discussing paranormal experiences. As technology continues to advance, new tools and techniques will enhance our understanding of the paranormal. Virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies may open up new possibilities for exploring and experiencing scary stories and paranormal phenomena.